truly fall to find the beauty surrounding it all. What it takes a form I'll never be able to hold, yet your presence seems to shelter me from the cold. This body has me only temporary, but only contrary. Are these feelings that I'll be feeling?
Good evening. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is November 2021, Tuesday, and this is Evan Studios Weekly Podcast number 28. With me, I have my co-host Isaac.
Hello, everyone.
I hope the microphone is working. How you doing, everyone? First of all, let's do the roll call to whoever is in the chat and watching right now. Foster, Deathfan, Ancestral, Aaron, and Morgan. Thank you guys for watching again. Let's get right to it because obviously there's not a lot to talk about this week. Mostly, we are just here to give you guys more of where are we in terms of releasing the patch, and right now everything is starting to come together. Our sprite artist has finished the last sprite for the current patch. He's already working on the sprites for Journey Abroad, so that's pretty good. Our animator just got the last scene to animate. The CG team has like one more still and four more scenes to finish, so probably they will take like 2 more weeks to do that tops. Maybe at the end of the next week. So at this point we're almost done with the progress on every department that we have. And in regards to Journey Abroad, we're already making the side characters. So we are already making the non-fuckable characters, the NPCs that you interact with in the world. And afterwards, we are going to focus on. We're going to start focusing on the anti-scenes on Journey Abroad and start making the anti-scenes, sending them to the animators so we can get used to animate the scenes in Journey Abroad. And for Fleeting Iris, we're going to finish the summer patch, and as soon as it's out, we are going to start working on the Shota patch, which at a first glance I will guess it's going to come out somewhere. I would say like late January, or like mid February tops. That's my first estimate to where the patch is going to come out. But at the end of the day, right now we have like a roadmap for the scenes that we want to make, but the patch is not yet set in stone, and we want to make a good patch for all the Shota fans. And in terms of anti scenes and story, we also want to make sure that we bring out a pretty great patch, not just in terms of like the amount of content, but we also want to make it a lot different from all the other content that we have in the game, so that it's unique in its own fetish. So yeah, for Fleeting Iris, we're pretty much about to wrap up, as you guys probably know by now. Fleeting Iris is pretty much just about to be across the finish line. Regarding the other scenes that we didn't reach the goal for, like I said before, we are going to try our best to actually bring them out eventually, but it's going to depend on a lot of things. It's going to depend how well Journey Abroad and Bloodlust do in terms of support, because that will mean that we can hire more people, and we can work on multiple things at the same time. If not, we will just we will find a way like we always do. Morgan asked on YouTube, is Shota the last patch? It's the last patch programmed for now. We are going to put Fleeting Iris on a pause, so unless like someone with like a big oil company has a lot of money to invest, and
or Elon Musk.
or Elon Musk, if you like anti, Elon, do your thing. If you enjoy anti and you enjoy a hard-working, humble company, throw some dollarinos our way.
Yeah, he's going to make a university. I don't know if you read that article called TITS. So,
really?
Texas Institute of Technology and Science, TITS.
Wow.
So that's the thing apparently. So he probably likes anti.
Yeah, you heard it here first, Elon. Send us the money and we'll fly you to the moon. And it will be a lot cheaper than the rocket.
This podcast is going with a great start.
It's going it's going places. So yeah, Fleeting Hour is about to wrap up. Journey Abroad is about to start, and then we're going to focus on Bloodlust as well. We are just a little more ahead in terms of progress right now on Journey Abroad, because obviously Scarlett Ennis started working on Journey Abroad for a while now, and in terms of actual drawings and in terms of actual content, we haven't started working on Bloodlust yet, and none of the assets that we have used on Fleeting Iris or the Halloween minigame is going to be reused for our game, because like you guys heard Muku say in the previous podcast 2 weeks ago, Muku stated that he wants to improve the bus and he wants to improve the art for the second game, so we won't be reusing any of the assets. We'll just be reusing the characters. But since we already have a very well built concept on how the characters look like and the personality of the characters and whatnot, it's going to be a lot easier to try to improve on that, other than just blindly drawing a character and going through the process where we don't like that hair like that, we have to change the eyes, we don't like that color, etc., etc. We already have went through that process before, when we were imagining the characters for the future games. With that being said, we have a lot of good news. Steam has asked Kagura Games to put our game in a Halloween bundle. So that might bring us a lot more visibility, and added to that, our game is now on very positive on reviews. So that is obviously amazing, and it's all due to you guys leaving us positive reviews on Steam. We appreciate you all for doing that, because that obviously brings a lot of visibility. It helps with our finances. It hasn't yet, in short term, but I think that in long term it might. And all that is important to keep the company afloat and keep creating new content. And we can't thank you guys enough for being so supportive. And why is my voice changing? Like, what the hell? Foster said, I will keep my fingers crossed for the remaining scenes. I so really want to see more of Armand. Favorite route / character, except for Ayame, of course. So do we, especially because we already wrote and we already planned all the anti scenes in the back office team. So Isaac and I, we already have the whole story drawn out, and we know exactly how it's gonna play. So it's not like we will have to do a patch on out of nowhere. We actually have all those patches planned, and we know exactly how they're gonna play out. All except the Christmas one. The Christmas one, we have a general idea of what we want to do, but we don't know exactly how the scenes will play out. We have a couple ones that we wanna put in there, but we don't want to do a patch just for the sake of doing a patch. We want to make a patch that, story-wise, it kind of makes sense happening the way it does, and also we want to make scenes that differ from previous scenes that you have seen. So it becomes like a unique patch on its own. It doesn't look just more anti. But all the other patches, the Jack patch, it's really big. The story reveals and the way they play out, I think it's very unique. They bring a lot of NTR and a lot of feelings. So I mean, we are very excited to work on those, but we just don't know when we will be able to get to it eventually. So unfortunately, it's the circumstances. Regarding Bloodlust, Morgan said on YouTube, I'm dying for Bloodlust news. It's going to be a really long wait until March. It might be a long time until the first playable version, but like we did in Fleeting Iris, and I know that a lot of you weren't here at the start, because the production of Fleeting Iris started close to 7 years ago. It's going to be 7 years in March. We actually started by releasing character concepts, maps, the sprites for the characters and whatnot. So we started building the world, and we were releasing patches that weren't exactly playable, but you were able to walk in the city, starting to get acquainted with Evan City, start seeing the sprites for the characters, a little bit of dialogue so you could see the busts, and probably we're gonna go through the same process on Bloodlust. However, unlike Fleeting Iris, which we were kind of building from nowhere, and even in regards to the database, we weren't experienced in what we were doing, so there were a lot of testing and play testing and seeing how stuff actually worked. Now we are a very competent and experienced team, and we know exactly how we want to play out the first few days of the game. And since the first few days of the game doesn't have anti, I'm pretty sure that the first patch for Bloodlust is going to come out like very very fast. It's going to instantly set the scenario for the anti-scenes. You're instantly going to meet some of the main characters and the antagonists. So I'm pretty positive that the first patch for Bloodlust is going to come out a lot faster. And also it's hard to admit, but at this point the team is starting to get a little burned out with Fleeting Iris. The anti-scenes, writing the anti-scenes right now for me personally feels like a huge chore, for the simple reason that they're so long. They're nothing like you've seen, that like any other game you've seen out there. They're hundreds of lines of dialogue, but above all, there's so much added work to creating an anti-scene due to all the variations in skin color and costumes and pubes and now in this one, the last one, we have to add like Evelyn's glasses on top of this behind the character. Like there's a lot of work that honestly takes a long time and it burns you out, and it's something that we won't have to deal with when it comes to Bloodlust. So as soon as Fleeting Iris is wrapped up and we finally put an end to Fleeting Iris, we're probably going to start 2022 with another mentality and morality, and it's going to be like a breath of fresh air to be able to work on something entirely new. The database won't be as convoluted. We won't be having to like search for stuff, and there won't be the looming shadow of there is a lot of stuff that we could have done better. Because while we were doing Fleeting Iris, we were obviously trying to achieve certain goals, and we were trying to release within a certain amount of time. And what happens when you do that is that quality takes a hit, and you end up not doing exactly what you wanted. We also started working with only one artist instead of two. So at the end of the day, we had to rush a lot of stuff out, and as a developer, you keep saying, later we're going to go back and we're going to improve this. And that's something that consistently happens, is every patch you are like focusing on so much stuff, and then you're like, okay, I didn't do this as well as I wanted to, or I think the idea could have been delivered better, but we can go back and we can improve this later. But the problem is later you also have a lot of work to do. There's always a new patch to work on that doesn't give you a lot of time to go back and work on other patches. And so at the end of the day, you keep saying, no, okay, so when we're about to wrap up Fleeting Iris, we're going to like give like 1 or 2 months and we're going to improve a lot of stuff. And we did that before we created the Steam version. We went back, we changed a lot of old scenes, we changed a lot of dialogue. Some routes were completely rewritten. A lot of the beginning of the Melvin route was rewritten. Some days were actually removed. A lot of days were added. Some assets were even removed. The Clark route was completely rewritten.
Yes.
A lot of maps were completely redrawn.
Town Hall was remade like 4 times.
Yeah.
Like entirely remade 100%.
The park was The park was
Extended once.
Yeah, but it was changed
Yes.
so many times. There's a
We
lot.
added the gazebo.
Yeah. So, yeah, at the end of the day, every time you say, I'm gonna go back later and change it, later never comes, because there's always more things to work on, and new content always takes priority
Yes.
over improving old content. So, in a perfect world, we will pull a Cyberpunk and just keep delaying games for like 2 years, and then at the end release something that's probably trash. No, I'm just kidding. uh, every week I gotta make this joke. No, seriously. We do want to go back, and we do want, but right now we're kind of burnt on Fleeting Iris, so we kind of want to do, which is behind the curtain or behind the scenes, while we are working on Journey Abroad, and while we are working on Bloodlust, we also want to take our time to go. Okay, let's go play Fleeting Iris. Let's play another day. Okay, we could have made this better. We could have changed this scene, and I think eventually we're going to give the finishing touches to Fleeting Iris, because as amazing we think the game is now, and with all the work that we put into it, there's also a lot that we want to change, and we have plans to eventually get to it and actually change it. But it was just never at the time that it was never convenient, because there's always new stuff to work on. So eventually we want to get to it, and I know we shouldn't be saying eventually I want to get to it, because that's exactly how it started. But right now it will stop being like mandatory, like we need to do this, and having more stuff to do, other than being I would say almost like optional, so to speak, since we don't have to like present a Fleeting Iris patch. It's going to be easier to work on Fleeting Iris, because we will not be on a time on time pressure to release it. We can just take our time and make it look as good as we want, because there will never be a situation where we'll be at the end of the month like, oh man, we need to release Fleeting Iris. We will just grab all the free time that we have and work on the game, which will be a lot different from having to work on the game with time restraints and trying to achieve certain goals. So I think there's still a lot for Fleeting Iris ahead of us after the Shota patch, which is technically the last patch. But I still think that we will go back and improve a lot on Fleeting Iris. So I don't think it's the end of Fleeting Iris in more ways than one, because we already have Fleeting Iris 2 and Fleeting Iris 3 written. So yeah, once we finish Alessi Chronicles, we might go back and do the Fleeting Iris 2 and Fleeting Iris 3 games. We actually want to do those, and we already have the story for those written. So yeah. Morgan said, I'm finally getting back on my feet, so I can finally start to check to support on Patreon. It's going to be, and it changes after FI to tiers, content release dates, and etc. So Morgan, we want to do that. We want to make the tiers look more like the tiers on Journey Abroad. But the problem is, it's really hard on Patreon to change tiers after you have supporters on those tiers. So we will try to do our best. We will probably add like a $20 tier, so that you can get both games and news about both games. We will review a lot of the tiers, so you can get more content at more tiers. Right now at the $30 tier, we have added something called the VIP room. So for patrons that are on the $30 tier, you get a room where you see almost on a daily basis the CG updates from the CG team. Speaking of which, we have to show the improvements for today, but we also have a new enticing that we want to write. We want to show today. So when the podcast is done, there will be a new enticing available on Discord for you guys to see. The new characters for Journey Abroad that are being released, the NPCs, we are going to release them exclusively on Patreon, because they're not main characters. They're not characters that you can have sex with. They are just populating the world, so to speak.
Kind of like Sam in the hospital route.
Yeah, they're kind of like Sam in the hospital route. So totally forgot that character was a thing, even though he's going to be one of the main characters later down the road.
Yes, and he has a burst and whatnot.
Patient Zero.
It's very present in that route. And
so yeah, that. Let's answer a couple more questions. That sounds good to have it all ready to go when the time and circumstances is on your side. Yeah, that's love your game. I wish I could say your name and appreciate it, but I'm gonna say Tetra, I'm sure I butchered it because it's Russian and I don't speak Russian. I don't even understand your characters. It's to me it's just English flipped horizontally. I'm gonna say Tetra. If I'm far, you please correct me. Fossen said, by the way, I think that Santa should be in the Christmas patch at least. It definitely will be. There will be more than one Santa. I guarantee it. What is inside the VIP room? Daniel Wong asked. Pretty much just $30 patrons discussing stuff, and we release daily updates on how the anti-scenes are looking. Because we also get daily updates. The CG team gives me daily updates on how they are improving the scenes and the progress that they're making. So pretty much you just get to see the progress while it's happening on the VIP room. So yeah, and there's a lot of goodies in the VIP room. You get to have your own character added to the game. There's a bunch of them. You guys probably haven't noticed it, but they are drawn and the sprites are dressed kind of like the people ask them to be drawn. They have specific names. Like there's a guy that a lot of people probably haven't noticed, but there's a guy in the beach. There's a guy on the highway map. There's a guy that you can interact with there. He has like a hoodie and shorts, and he has an actual character name that is one of our supporters, that is one of our patrons. And obviously, you guys probably have already noticed this, but in the garden, in the park, there is a big what do you call it? The stone. There's there's like an honorable stone with the 10 biggest supporters of Fleeting Iris on the stone. So those names will be immortalized once Fleeting Iris is completely released. We will stop updating that list, and those names will be immortalized forever as long as the world exists. Fleeting Iris will exist, and those names will be there. So yeah. Plus, there's the one-on-one lessons with me to learn how to create a game, where I teach you how to set up a Patreon, how to work with RPG Maker, pretty much just how to get started. So yeah. Morgan says, so basically $1 only for images, $10 for the game, $20 okay, $30 VIP room. So basically yes, $1 is for images. You get access to the Patreon discussion rooms, to the Patreon only rooms, where there's a lot of discussion going on. I think people that are in it can see it. There's a lot of discussion going on in there, and you also get access to the previews for Alessia Chronicles and for the Dreamville saga. So right now you see the previews for Fleeting Iris and Journey Abroad. At the $10 tier, you get the game as soon as it's released, obviously. At the $20 tier, the goal is to give you the $10 tier on both patrons without having to pay the taxes twice, without having to be supporting two different patrons.
It's practical.
It's a lot more conventional. It's a lot more practical than being patron on both sides.
And less taxes.
And that's the first thing I said. Less taxes.
Yes.
So less taxes,
That's
and
really
you get both games, and whatever else we decide to throw in there, which we usually do. Oh, the $1 tier also gets to vote on patron only polls, and some of them were really huge in deciding how the game actually played out, and which patches came out first, or which patches actually came out, and some that didn't. So yeah, the being able to vote in our polls is really important, because you actually decide where the game is going. We don't just ask polls out of nowhere. It actually decides the future of the game. So for the $30 tier, you get the high quality assets in their highest resolution. You also get the PSDs, so you can create your own scenes in your Photoshop or GIMP or whatever. You also get access to the VIP room, where you see updates on a daily basis. There's a lot, and you get the one-on-one lessons with me. Plus, you get your character in the game, or an ad for one of your games if you're working on a game. So there's a lot in all of the tiers to actually allow you to choose where to go. Eventually, and the only reason we haven't done it yet, we wanted to add like a $5 tier where you get the game one version behind the other people. So when one group gets 1.07, you will get 1.06, or like 2 weeks later or something like that. Because personally, I wish I could just lower all the tiers so that we can allow more people to see our stuff and we can allow more people to play our game. But also the $10 tier previously gave you access to like a Steam key until that was valid until the game came out on Steam. Now obviously that was removed from Patreon, and we alerted at the time that this is only valid until the game comes out on Steam. And now it's not available anymore, but all the people that donated $10 until and this was permanent. Like if you donated $10 at any given point when the game came out on Steam, you could ask for a key. And we spent weeks giving out keys to people, a lot of them that haven't been patrons for a long time, but it was how it worked back in the day. And we probably will do something similar when Bloodlust comes out and when Journey Abroad comes out. And the game ended up being priced at $20, so you got the game for half the price. And for all the people that keep asking, the Steam release will be updated once our version is finalized, so that we can send it to Kagura Games and then they can decide to upload it. I know. Give me a second. Isaac wants to say something in secret to me. Okay, you guys don't want to hear that. You probably could, but you shouldn't. So, like I was saying, we're probably going to send them the English version. So the English version of the game will be updated on Steam probably as soon as we are finished with the Shota patch. If not earlier, because they're not going to get the Shota patch, right?
Right.
So we might...
It's just for EF. Right.
Exactly. So we might just send... Okay, so yeah, the Steam version might get updated even this year. If they upload our version directly... I
don't know if they do that, but...
It's gonna depend on Kagura Games, but if they upload our version directly to their website,
yes, I mean I think they don't even have to update the Steam version. They will probably just have to update their patch version.
Exactly.
So yeah, maybe I think so. I think that works.
So if you ask me, it's physically possible, depending on how hard they work on it, that the Steam version is updated with the last version before the end of this year.
Yes.
But also, and this is disclaimer, we are not responsible for any of Kagura Games' decisions, and we don't know how that's going to be, and if that's going to come out.
Yeah.
I also don't even know if the last version will just be updated on English, or if they will also try to translate into Chinese.
Yeah, because if they try to translate, they will probably want to release in all the languages at the same time, so you will probably have to wait for the translation to finish.
There you go. I couldn't have said it better myself. Like Isaac said, they did the same thing with the last patch. So it's going to be up to Kagura Games. But when it comes to us, I think we are going to send the last patch to Kagura Games this year. As soon as 1.07 is out, we're going to send it to them. We're probably going to clean it up a bit, try to remove the Patreon links and whatnot. And then we're going to send it to them. I'm personally going to tell Rakushun, the owner of Kagura Games, hey man, you can just upload this just like it is. And then it's better because if people complain about bugs, we can, if you haven't tampered with the game yet, we can just go and fix it, and we can tell you exactly how to fix it. But when it came to the Chinese version, it was tough. It's really hard to debug for a version that you don't have, and we tried our best. We tried to put a lot of protections to not make people crash their own game. It was a mess. I don't even know what to say. So there was a joke on this is a problem. So there, I need to say, I think that the VIP room isn't, the VIP lounge isn't working exactly as it should, but I'm going to fix that. I think it's only a mod thing. So I made a joke on our Discord, which by the way you guys are all invited to join and participate in. That there was no dumb questions. And Zelmate took it to heart, and as a joke, he decided to try and make dumb questions. And he actually came up with three questions, which I'm gonna reply. So we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this. Give me a second. This is how it's gonna be. You're gonna answer the first. I'm gonna answer the second, and then we both answer the third. So the question is, are you ready? When will Ayame actually get some hardcore explicit scenes where she gets some real dick? Because the game right now is almost only softcore scenes.
I'm sorry, the dicks in the game are not enough to satisfy you. We'll try to improve that in the next game.
I think he was more talking about the actual fetishes and the yeah. We're trying to make it legit for all ages, not all ages, but like all tastes. There's a lot of
Okay, that's a good way to put it. Yes, for instance, some people asked us to do like scat porn and something like gory and
hell no.
and stuff like that, and we from day one said absolutely no to all of those. We want to make the game at least tasteful.
Yeah, cause shit ain't tasty. Wait, I can work for that shit. Hell no, okay. Second question. How do you handle bug testing with or without pants on? Follow-up question. How do I handle bug testing with or without pants on? Depends on what part of the game I'm testing. Follow-up question regarding bug testing. Do you and Isaac bug test together? Again, with or without pants on? Do you and Isaac bug test together? No, we don't. With or without pants on? Depends on what part of the game. How do you handle it?
It's hard.
Yeah, the most of Stark's job when I am bug testing is complaining with me for creating bugs, so it's not relevant if he has pants on or no. So that's my answer.
Believe it or not, I can yell with my pants on.
Yes, he can.
That's so stupid. Yeah, we are also not adding golden showers, and there's also some types of BDSM and other stuff that people asked us to create. But I mean, I'm not
nothing gory, nothing like that, nothing like too violent, no snuff porn, no, just no.
I want to be available, and I want to have everything for everyone, okay? And we've always been transparent about this. But I mean, here's the harsh reality. I am not the person you want writing that type of stuff. It's that simple. I'm not the best person at writing that. It's not something that I personally appreciate. And I'm probably not the developer that you guys want to ask to create those things because I'm not competent.
Let's put this like this. If you like to be pissed on and you can write anti-scenes as good as Star can, write an anti-scene for us. There, you have it.
Yeah, you guys had the chance to do that. We might even release it as a side game or whatever, dude. Like, you know, but I'm not very competent at a lot of things. And you know, already it's like I'm not a great writer, so when I write the game and I write the entire scenes, I'm already shooting myself in the foot. And when you guys tell me to write like very twisted BDSM or scat or whatever, it's like you put a shotgun in my hand and I'm already shooting myself in the foot. But I like to believe it that right now I'm shooting myself in the foot with a BB gun. But you guys are putting a shotgun in my hand, and it's gonna blow up majorly. It's gonna happen like the bestiality patch, where I actually thought I did like an half decent job, and apparently I pissed off a lot of people. So it's like, I don't know. It's like you guys are blaming me for fucking up when I'm saying, "Hey guys, I'm about to fuck up," and you guys go, "Go," and then I fuck up, and everybody goes, "What were you doing, Stark?" And wait, what? You guys told me to go? No, Stark, you're a dumbass. That's how I feel. Morgan said, actually, Tetra. I'm gonna keep calling you Tetra until you fucking tell me how do you spell your name, okay? Tetra Vupemeta. Do you know NTR Man? Also Hentai Games creator. Yes, I've seen his work on Hentai a lot. Because trust me, I read a lot of fucking NTR to get ideas and see what people like. And I usually when I see NTR stories, and this is my biggest form of like figuring out what people like, is when I see Hentai stories on Hentai, I look at the upvotes and I see like the ones with the biggest upvotes. I try to understand why people liked it. And then I'm like, okay, so this is like an idea, this is a concept, and that's where I go from, and that's where I actually got a lot of ideas. Morgan said, actually, yeah, are you going to add something like Beast Shota or the likes with the new games? Very likely, and I'm also going to fuck it up. Daniel Wong said, is Subscribestar or Patreon better as a creator? As I am not sure which platform is better. I don't want to piss off the overlords. I'm sorry, Daniel Wong. Go ask on Discord. I'm not going to say this publicly. Fossern said, the bondage scene with Armand is a good scene. Spanking, bondage, Dom Somp, ish, that was a good one. I thought that it was very light. I've seen some twisted fucking shit. I've seen some twisted shit. Like boob squeezing and nut cracking, and I've seen a lot of twisted shit on BDSM. So I thought that the scene was good, but it was like still tasteful.
Yes.
Like the scenes where I think there's a scene where he slaps her in the face or chokes her, or I don't remember exactly how it went, or it kind of borderlines rape. That was a hard ride for me. I'm not comfortable writing those things, even though it's like it's harmless and it's just a game and it's not real characters and whatnot. It's still hard for me to write for those scenarios because I find the reality so twisted. I mean, to me it's hard, man. I'm 36, almost pushing 37. Those scenarios are not appealing to me at all, man. I have a mother. I have 4 sisters, 3 nieces. I mean, it's rough for me. It's rough to write stuff like that. That's it. That's I do my best, but it's always going to be on the light side. Maureen asks about the beast thing with fleeting eyes. Most likely the guys got what they are looking for and left. Yeah, I agree. Question number 3 from Zelmate. No dumb questions. When will the NAS version of Fleeting Iris launch? Full HD scenes in 4K, fully animated. Easy. When our bank accounts get paid in full HD 4K a month scenes, fully
Yeah,
animated.
it's easy. If we have the budget of a AAA team, we can make AAA games. There, easy.
That was a fucking high five. That's yeah.
It's simple.
We are not magicians. We cannot make
Quick maths.
quick maths. We cannot make $2 out of 1. Yeah. Also, Alberto Fujimori said 100% agree with that. A little is okay, but rough content like that is a major turnoff. And you can argue that any content, almost any content, in Fleeting Iris is avoidable because you can just pick up another route. But
You can literally complete the game and see 0 anti-scenes. And I mean 0, including with Robert.
and you'll still find ways to complain at the game. But the thing is, at the end of the day, you're also missing out on a lot of stuff. And maybe 1 or 2 scenes might be too much for you in a whole patch. And then out of like 15 scenes, if there's like 2 scenes that completely turn you off or you really don't enjoy, it might be enough for you not to want to play that route anymore. And I think that the office route is a route that is so important in terms of story and in terms of the plot and the reveals and whatnot, that not being able to play that route due to some BDSM, some heavy BDSM throwing you off and make you not want to play that route, it will be a huge downside in our opinion, because first of all, we are working hard on content that only a small percentage of the players is going to play, which is something that I've always found like completely ridiculous. It's like when I'm going to give you the example of Division 2 because it was something that I played very actively, and the developers put like the best content in the game hidden behind a difficulty wall, which was the legendary difficulty. And that shit was absolutely insane, and I was having a hard time because I could finish it with I could finish that content with some of my online friends, but sadly I wasn't being able to finish that content with my in real life friends because they weren't as skilled. And I could understand their concerns, and I can understand how the game could be too hard for them at that point. and then we quizzed the developers. There's a big post on Reddit where I actually asked the developers what were they thinking when they did that type of content, and they were like, legendary content is not content for everyone. We want only 5 to 10% of the player base to be able to finish it. And that's cute and all, but then I asked them the question, which obviously they gave a shitty answer to, which was, so you made a patch, you spent dozens and dozens and dozens of man hours and creating assets for content that only 5% of your player base is gonna get to appreciate. You spent months of hard work in content that only 5% of the players is going to be able to see. And that to me is what ridiculous, that's the definition of ridiculous as a developer. Because you're not just making a platformer that is a little harder on nightmare level, but you still get to experience the whole game. You're literally hiding glamours and armors and story behind the fucking skill wall that most people don't get to appreciate. So if we do content that is a little too rough or a little too specific or it's just distasteful for some people, that might alienate people from actually playing that route because they don't support it, or they don't support the team in it, or there's something that they really can't stomach to see in that route. And if we do that, we're going to alienate people from other experiences in that route. And at the end of the day, if we do that in a route that is as important story-wise as the Office route, which for those of you that have finished it and actually saw the pictures and read the story, you understand why that route is important. A lot of people will be alienated from playing that route. And that's a very hard line to make when making the game. And that happens very often, not only on something like that, but for instance on the Halloween mini games, where we wanted to make more fun, complex mini games that were actually harder, but then at the end of the day it's like a lot of people are missing the mini games. They are having to look out for guides and whatever because they're, and it's an entire game. People are fucking with their pants on their ankles and they wanna fucking jerk off, and they're like, why is this teleport taking me back to the same spot? We don't want to create frustration when we are trying to create escapism and the way to appreciate a few minutes or a few hours at the end of the day from, reality is already shit as it is. Sometimes everybody has good days, everybody has bad days. We don't want to make something that should be fun to do to make it like a chore or frustrating. And there you go. That's behind there's a lot more to developing than just what people see as the end product on their hands. There's a lot of consideration that has to be done to make sure that we don't step on anyone's toes when creating the game. We might be insulting people with our African American teams, with our feminists, with everything. We might be alienating a crowd, and we don't want to do that. We want to make something that everyone can appreciate. We don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, and we don't want to touch subjects that might be a little too too hard for some people to stomach. So there we go. Morgan said, my only turn off with Fleeing Eyes was Clark route. Too much vanilla wholesome content for me. I get it, but that route is not important. That route is literally if you want like vanilla falling in love content with a little bit of femdom and whatnot, that's it. But story wise, that's just an alternative for you to get. And like you said, again, I simply avoid it. No need to complain. It's Clark route is just avoided. It's not an important route in no way, shape, or form.
Yeah, it's exclusive, doesn't unlock anything, so you can like see 0 events of that route and just
that's one of the reasons why you don't have access to free roam and you don't have to like mix it up with other routes, is because it's the fetishes in it are so specific that we want, if this is what you're going for, play this route.
Yeah, it's a lot different. The whole setting and the mood and the story, it's very different from the rest of the game. So
yeah, like
if you don't like it, just play other routes, easy.
Exactly. It's like we said, it's something for everyone. So if you don't like it, it's not a big deal. Just play something else. It's, that one is not a very important route. I also I argue that the routes that focus mostly on NTR and the development of character of Ayame as a slut and whatnot, you can find them all. You can play them all in like one playthrough. Which are like the Melvin route with the Sato route with the nightclubs with the free roams. All that kind of follows a very broad fetish about NTR and cheating and whatnot, and you can find it all on the same spot. But if you want to do incest, you follow the family route, and you don't need to see any of the other routes. They're not in the way. You don't have to spend weekend days skipping the weekend for no reason. Here is your content. Play this. If you want to see something vanilla, wholesome, female domination, whatever, play the Clark route. Nothing will get in your way. There will be no free roams, no weekends, nothing getting in the way. Just play this one. And there's very few routes that are not interchangeable with other routes. If you want to see a swing NTR specific route, you can just go play the Garcias, and even that has 2 outcomes, and a lot of changes in between the patch that changes a lot of scenes. So that's another one of the reasons why we haven't allowed people to play the whole game because some fetishes play nice together and some fetishes just don't. If you want to see, imagine that you were forced to play some of Clark route while trying to play the family route, and you're like, man, I want to see Gramps' dick. I am it down. I don't want to see this fucking douchebag, girlfriend stealer motherfucker.
As a wise man once said, I want to see some real dick. 3 questions ago.
Zelmate.
Yeah.
Got it. Nice. So yeah, that's why that's why we decided to build a game the way we do it. So yeah, obviously most of you are here today to see the news about Fleeting Iris. So yeah, there will be a scene coming up on Discord in a few minutes, and just gotta wait on the CG team to finish. My estimate is at the end of next week, but take it with a grain of salt. This is not a release date, but this is what I believe in terms of the amount of work that is missing. So feel free to don't stalk him. Don't go on his PMs and start stalking him 100 people at a time. But feel free to go on the Fleeting Iris Unless It Chronicles channel and actually ask Muku, hey man, when do you think it's gonna come out? And he can give you an educated guess, just as I am doing right now. It's an educated guess, and obviously the person that no, that's what he said. That's how you. It's not what he say. It's how people interpret it. You're gonna learn about that in life. That's how it is. Because you might have tried to do the nicest thing and say the nicest thing, and people misinterpret what you say, and now you're a douchebag. That's how it works in the internet. It's not how you mean it. It's how you say it. So yeah, we're probably going to call it here today. It was an amazing podcast.
Yes, absolutely.
I had a wonderful time. Also, I am sorry. I have to say this. Aaron N told me. I don't know if there are members of the GT team that will be present on today's podcast, but if they do, I think some general questions like what's your favorite character design, what's your favorite scenes, or what's your favorite routes will be interesting to share. First of all, in some sort of apology, Aaron, the CG team has a very different damn it, the daylight thingy, the
time zone.
God damn it, the CG team is in the Philippines and we are in Europe. And there was a daylight savings 2 days ago or whatever,
Yes.
which adds another hour to the already horrific time constraints that we try to work on.
They don't have time savings in Philippines.
They do, but not at the same time as us, I think.
I think it's the same time.
It's the same time?
Yeah.
Okay, whatever.
I mean, not the same time because but the same day.
I don't think it is, but I'm not gonna argue because I'm not educated enough in this, but I don't think it is.
Really?
So yeah, we have people working in our team.
It's
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I want to.
okay, sure.
We have team in the USA, we have team in Europe, we have teams a part of team in the Philippines. It's really hard to get everyone to work together and be sharp and alert at the same time. So sadly, when I asked the CG team, I asked Tiger Lila and I asked Muku if they wanted to participate in today's podcast, and Tiger Lila said, "I'm sorry, I'd like to, but I'm off to bed." And I assume that they are both sleeping right now, so that's why they didn't participate. However, I think that question is extremely pertinent for Isaac to answer. Regarding Daniel Wong said, which platform do you prefer to be on, as I am unsure if I want to maintain Patreon or change to Subscribestar. Any preference? Daniel, it doesn't matter to me, but I feel like Patreon is a lot more active. It really doesn't matter. I'm gonna say, Daniel, support whatever you want. Supporting is what's important. We have founder status on Patreon, so we get about the same money. Even though the taxes are high and whatnot, we have founder status, which is not easy to get on Patreon. It's probably impossible to get nowadays. And between Patreon and Subscribestar, whatever it floats your boat, whatever is easier to you. What I'm gonna say is just show up on Discord, man. That's a great way to show support and actually, have. We are always available. We might not answer right away, but if you question us and if you try to, chat with us, that goes for everyone in the chat, we will answer. You don't have to wait for the podcast. We will try. We are as helpful as we can. So if you guys want to get on Discord, just drop us, anything, and we will reply. And other more personal questions as to which, what is the best place to sell your game as a developer, that I cannot answer on the microphone. I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings, especially those that pay our bills. So thanks for the party, guys. Stay safe and have a nice evening, said Forcer, not me. Wait a second, I'm going to let Isaac answer this question.
Which question?
What was your favorite character design? Did you say Melissa?
No, I said that my favorite character was probably Luna or Melissa. I kind of like those two girls.
But physically it was Melissa?
But character design, I don't think that I ever got asked that question. Let me think about it a bit. I like the design of Alexandra a lot, actually.
Alex?
Yes.
Okay, the bimbo.
Yes, she's good. I hate her personality. She's like a bimbo. I like the design of the character.
Okay, so scenes in terms of, not the ones you wrote, like try to abstain from actually developing the actual game. In terms of scenes, in terms of story, and like probably I don't know if Era N is asking what your scenes in terms of like design. Since it was aimed at the CG team, I'm gonna ask in like design, not in terms of story. So in terms of like the actual drawings, which are the ones the most memorable? Because you played the game so many times.
Oh, so the recent ones are very good. I feel like the improvement of our CG team is really noticeable in even in short periods of time. So if you see, for example, the patches that we released in 2021, those patches have like probably the best anti-scenes of the entire game, like easily hands down in terms of design.
That sounds like such a shill answer.
Yes, but
but I believe you.
I will elaborate. Much more detail. A lot of scenes have a lot of different like positions and movements, and in much more like quantity even. That
they take longer to create.
The older scenes, I'm not saying that they don't. I'm just saying that from like a design perspective, the newer scenes in general are very, very good, and well, I have to say it, superior to the older ones. Like that's it. If you want like more specific scenes, let me think about it. I like this that scene where I am as the red dress with Armand.
Everyone and their moms likes that scene. You're not original.
I was the first one to say that, literally, because when the scene arrived, you showed the scene to me, and I was like, "Whoa, that's my favorite scene."
The piano one
with the 10 lines. That is the best scene in the game for me.
Okay, I believe you. But before I ask you the last question that Ariane asked, I'm going to add a little bit. The reason why that happened is because people actually asked us to do that there was a lot more. Oh, you should add more kissing in this scene. You should, after he had like vaginal sex, you could put it in her ass. You could like grope her boobs here, and I kept telling people, all those changes and all those things take more time because
Yes.
people have to draw
It's
more.
like, we could do after this anti-scene like another completely different anti-scene that looks the same, but it takes the more work to do.
And I alerted people many times. I can do that, but I'd rather do one more scene than make this scene in like 30 different positions and their head
Yes.
moves and these.
I remember when you wrote the new dildo scene of Amy masturbating in her
Oh,
bed.
God.
That scene took like, I don't remember how many time. I think it was days that you took to write everything in all the versions and put every image in its place, and then we had to test every version, and then we had to correct like with the tests and stuff
yeah.
for the pubes and the tens and with dildo and no dildo. Think about Melvin, think about Robert, think about, I think it's Dan, the third guy. Think about Dan, and then with the dildo, and then with pubes, and man,
You're giving me PTSD right now.
that scene. I mean, if someone sees that scene once, like one version, one choice, is like, oh, that scene is a good scene. If you try to see all the versions with all the choices, you will see that scene has the size of like 4, 5, 6 anti-scenes easily.
That scene took me 3 days to fucking make.
That scene is fucking huge. What the fuck is wrong with that scene?
People-
That scene probably has more anti-content than some, like, quote, finished anti-games, end of quote.
Dude, that's actually factual.
So,
I've
there.
I've played them. So yeah, a lot of what happens in this summer patch is that a lot of scenes has a scene where like he's penetrating vaginally, and then he takes the dick out, he slaps her pussy with it, and then he puts it in her ass, and then he grabs her in her hair, and then he
Yeah.
kisses her, and there's so many variations on the same scene. People don't even realize how much additional time it takes to create those scenes. But at the end of the day, after you release the preview, because when you release the preview and the characters only have like 2 states, it's like, we already spoiled the scene. But there's so many changes and there's so many alternatives to the scenes right now
Absolutely.
for the summer patch that you release something very little, but you're like, oh man, this is nothing compared to
Yes.
what you guys are in for and what you're going to see in the future. So obviously all that delays the game. We could have probably released it on the 2-month span that we usually do.
Absolutely. But not with this amount of like detail and variations and whatnot.
No, and it's gonna be very simple to see why the scenes took more time to do once you actually play the game and see all the variations of the scenes and all the groping and all the animations. There's 4 animated scenes. Some scenes they change positions like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, the one in the towel is like 3 scenes.
That one only took me 2 days to make. It's
Yeah.
just not a nightmare at all. So yeah, all those variations that people kept asking me, oh, it will be good if they kissed in this scene. Oh, it will be good if after this she gave him a blowjob. Or it will be good if after this he put it in her ass. Like, now we're gonna do that. And obviously the drawback is the patch is taking longer because the last patch, the last version we released was August 21. So we're due for a patch since October 21, and now we're in November. And I hope that once you guys get the summer patch in your hands, you can actually see where the work was put in and the quality of the scenes and the amount of detail. But we were like, whatever, it's the fucking last patch. Let's do the
Yeah.
best possible work that we can do. And I think we're gonna go out in the bank, and then I am as well. No, I mean, and then, and then the show the patch. Final question before we book it. What's your favorite route? That one is a good one.
If I have to pick one, no, people already asked me my favorite routes, and I said like 2 or 3, and I explained the reasons why. But if I have to pick one, oh boy, I don't know. I like different routes in the game for different reasons, and it's very hard to pick one that I feel like it's above all the others because yeah, that's it. I like some routes for reasons that are like completely different. It's like comparing apples and oranges to me.
I'm so glad I don't have to answer that question. Well, that is all for today. That is all for today. Thank you guys so much for showing up again. We are going to try and make a podcast next week as well. There's so much stuff happening in real life right now. Personal stuff. A lot of stuff happened in Isaac's life last week. And sometimes we want to pick like the best day to do a podcast, and then on that specific day, there's reasons that don't allow us to actually do the podcast, and then we have to delay 1 week. So this week we tried to do as early as we could. So we wanted to do Monday, but we couldn't do Monday. So today's Tuesday, and the podcast is here. Next week we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna try and release on Monday. If we can, we're gonna try to release the podcast as early as we can. So yeah, there's that. As usual, it was a pleasure to talk to you guys. I really enjoy all the podcasts. You guys are always so entertaining to entertain. And I always have a blast doing this for you. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys stay safe. And if the solar flare kills us all, we had a wonderful run.
I think it will just kill like our cell phones and stuff.
I think it's gonna go. Kill
No,
I
it
think it's
won't.
not gonna kill shit.
No, it won't.
It's not gonna do shit. Love you guys. See you guys next week. Stay safe.
Bye, everyone.